Hey, good evening, X-Tribe. Welcome to the weekly Leadership Webcast. I'm Randy Gage. Give me a sec. I want to actually post something on the thing, make sure that mic is off. And somebody do me a favor, go to the Facebook group and post, just remind people, hey, live English webcast is starting now. Somebody do that for me, please. Tonight, we're going to talk about leadership, right? This is supposed to be a leadership webcast. And so that's what I want to do tonight is I actually want to focus the entire thing on some important leadership activities, some leadership principles. And then next week, we can get back to our usual format. We'll go through rank advancements and some of the other things, some of the product training and that. But I want to go through 7 items that I think are really important in terms of leadership, because our business is all about leadership, leadership, leadership. And the first item I want to talk about is the thing I posted in the group today, which is what I think is the most important dynamic in leadership, which is leading yourself. And I think one of the most powerful passages I ever read in a book was when I was reading Tribes by Seth Godin. And there was some point in the book where he said, you have to pick yourself. And I think that's such a profound statement. There's so many people, I'm going to show my real age here by example. The story that they always used to tell was, what was her name, Lana Turner or what? Because it's actually before my time. I'm not really that old, but I think it was Lana Turner. Maybe somebody knows. She was an actress, and she was discovered at Schwab's drugstore at the soda fountain. She was sitting there having a soda, and some Hollywood producer said, oh my goodness, look at that face. We could make you a movie star. And somebody will know the story. Put the comments if you do. So there's so many people waiting around for something like that to happen. But you can't do that. You have to choose yourself. And in our business, it's the same way. You've got to choose to become a leader. You choose to lead your team. You choose to go places where people will want to follow you. Remember, we're an all-volunteer army at Fusion. We don't hire people. We don't fire people. We don't pay them by the hour. We don't give them project lists. They're completely 100% volunteer. They choose to join the business, and they choose whether or not to follow you. So you have to first choose yourself and start off on this path of leading by example, and then you will see people in your group, in your team, will choose to follow you. So I think a big dynamic of that is modeling the behavior. Are you on the webcast every week? Are you at the Leadership Academy every week? Are you introducing people to the business? Have you built a strong, viable customer base? Are you doing the behaviors? Are you doing the actions that people who watch you, and believe me, your team is watching you all the time. So as they're watching you, are they seeing you practice the activities that leaders do of growing a team so that they would choose to follow you? And one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do for that is to invest in yourself. Daily self-development time. You hear every one of the top people in Fusion, every one of the top people in our profession. We talk about this all the time. You've got to grow you. You've got to invest in you, because if you don't invest in yourself, you're a horrible investment for anyone else. So the thing I posted in the comments section for you guys watching, I put the link for did it go in yet? No, it didn't. Let me try and post it. Okay, here's the link for the mastermind event, the live stream. So for you guys who aren't going to be there in person, if you are in person, great. We're going to have an amazing event. It's coming up this weekend in Orlando, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But if you're not going to be there, invest whatever it was, $99 or $97, or I don't remember what the exact amount was, in the live stream. And not only am I doing the opening keynote and I'm doing a 90-minute master class on leadership, I'm also doing the So You Think You Can Sponsor section, where we bring up people and they do presentations and we critique them. But for the first time in Mastermind history, Luca Meloni and Lily Rosales are on the program. They've got an amazing session that they're going to do built around this concept of leadership academies we do. And for the first time ever, Eric Gamio is on the Mastermind faculty, and he's going to do his program on paying the price to lead, being willing to do that. So what are you doing to invest in yourself? What is the thing? What is the course? What is the tangible proof you have provided yourself that says, I'm going to develop my leadership skills. I'm going to develop my other skill sets. I'm going to strengthen my character. I'm going to develop my skills in other areas. I'm going to become a better person. What are you doing for that? First, lead yourself. Second thing I want to talk about is your ability to be able to tell your story in an empowering way. So much of what we do in our business is social proof, and so much of what we do is these live events where people meet you for the first time. Your third, fifth, your 11th generation people are hearing about you. You're doing a story at a leadership academy, or perhaps you're speaking at a major event. Perhaps you're on one of these webcasts. And people, we want to hear your story. We want to hear about what did you have to overcome to make it with Fusion. What were the challenges you faced? But remember, we're not asking you to tell your story as a reward for good service. That's not the deal here. We'll give you the reward for good service you're going to get is your bonus check, the pin you get, the certificate you get, the trophy you get. When we ask you to walk across the stage, we put your name up on a big screen. That's our way to recognize you and thank you for your powerful accomplishment. But when we ask you to tell your story, it's really not to reward you or recognize you. It's for you to tell your story in a way that empowers the new people just starting off on your team and the other teams, the people in the audience, the prospects in the audience, and the team members in the audience. What we want to happen is that they're sitting there in the audience and they're listening to you and they're saying, wow, her story is my story. Where she was is where I am right now. And where she is where I want to get to right now. And that's what inspires people. So we're all going to face challenges, right? We're going to have dropouts. We're going to have no-shows. We're going to have rejection. We're going to schedule secret meetings that nobody shows up. We're going to develop a leader, and then some other company's going to come along and offer them a deal, and they're going to take the money and run. And all those things are going to happen to everybody in the business, right? But it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens to us. Those are the lessons that make us grow. Those are the lessons that make us better leaders. And those are the lessons that empower the people in the team. So they realize, wow, if she did it, I can do it too. So that's the second thing I want you to think about this week. Third thing, I actually have 7 that I want to get through as long as we can get it in the time, is you need more than your story. I'm simply shocked, even at this mastermind event, at some of the years past, some of the high level achievers in the faculty, people are making $50,000 a month, $75,000 a month, and they really can't do anything except tell their story. In other words, if you ask them, okay, how did you do this? How did you achieve that rank? They really can't quantify it. They can't say, well, here's the skill sets I developed. Here's how I applied them. Here's how I got the results I got. So it's really important. I want you guys in our team, You know that. And this is why we do the Leadership Academies. So one of the most tangible things you could do to hone this ability to be able to teach more than your story, to be able to train the team, to be able to empower the team, is to boldly, dynamically, actively, enthusiastically participate in all of the functions of the Leadership Academy. So be one of the ticket takers, be one of the greeters, be one of the people who does the setup, and then do each of the segments. Start with your 30-second testimonial. Be one of the people and learn how to get that tightly targeted testimonial like you heard about on the webcast last week. Then do the product section. Then learn to do one of the skill set sessions. And remember, you should be, if you want to be a leader in our team, if you want to be a leader with Fusion, at some point you need to be able to, we could just go in your house, wake you up at 3 a.m., shine a flashlight in your face and say, hey, we need a 30-minute training on how to meet people. Or we need a 30-minute training on how to work a candidate list, 30-minute training on how to invite, or a training on follow-up. You need to be able to do any of those things to teach them. So that's when we say you need more than your story. You need to be able to actually help people with the skill set stuff. So that is a great thing to practice at the Leadership Academy. And the other exciting thing I want to tell you guys who haven't heard, one of the projects we're working on as your leaders is a library of PowerPoint presentations. And we're starting with the product section, where we want to make sure people are compliant, that they're not saying claims that are going to get us in trouble or things that aren't accurate, that we're actually doing authorized materials from the company that are approved, run through compliance, don't get us into any issues with any of the regulatory people. So we're actually creating a library of about 20 PowerPoint presentations for products. So there's one on the science behind Fusion. That's one of the ones I've been working on all day today. There's one, Unleashing the Secrets of the Amazon. That's the first one we did. For you guys who are in Miami, I actually did that at the Leadership Academy last week. So what we're doing is we're constructing these. We run them through the company, through compliance. We get an official approved Fusion material logo on it. And then we're going to translate it into Spanish, translate it into Portuguese, and put them on the team site. And then, so we have the first one up next week. We'll have the second and third ones up probably next week. And then we'll be adding them until we get to about 20. And once those are done, we're going to do the same thing with the skill set sections. So you'll see there's a deck of PowerPoint images, and then there's a Word document, or a PDF, it'll be on the site, which is actually the presenter's guide to tell you what you want to talk about in each slide. So we're really going to help you become amazing at teaching that stuff through these resources that we're developing. So that's an exciting thing. Fourth thing I want to talk about is this principle. I firmly believe this with every fiber of my being, which is if you ask everyone to lead, nobody does. Example was, might have been Cialdini's book. I'm trying to remember where I read it. It was a story about this person getting robbed in New York City. And they were assaulted on the street and they were being attacked, and finally the police show up, and then they start interviewing people who saw this, and all these people say, yeah, I saw it. And they asked all these people, well, why didn't you call the police? And everybody said, well, I just assumed someone else did. And that's the same principle at Dynamic here. When you get in a room and you have 200 people and you say, okay, you're all leaders here. Here's what leaders do. You do this. No, that's not true. If you got 200 people in a room, you might have 20 leaders there, and you might have 30 to 40 potential leaders there. And then you've got a bunch of people who are looking for leaders to follow. And they may love the Fusion products, they may love the business, but they don't see themselves as a diamond with Fusion. They don't see themselves up on the platform with Fusion. They see themselves as, hey, I love these products. I'd love to get them for free. Maybe I'd like to make a little residual income, set aside some money for my kids' college fund. So if you make leadership the litmus test for everyone, you're just going to scare away a lot of people. Please recognize the fact that not everyone who joins Fusion wants to become a leader. There are many, many other levels of participation that people would choose to do with Fusion. And we need to honor that with everyone. So our job is to recognize the people who are leaders and want to become leaders. And it's also our job to recognize, perhaps before they do themselves, people who have the potential to become leaders. And then let them know we see that potential. And if they think they would like to step into that greatness, we would love to groom them and bring them along the leadership track. And if they don't, if they're happy operating at a different level of participation, we support that and honor that and work with them on that way. Number 5, schedule and invest in long distance lines. So why I say schedule, I mean actually build that idea, build that activity into your planner. One of the most important things I do every month is I look out for next month and the month after. And I'm looking in my back office and I'm looking for a spark of a flame. A group where I see, if you remember when I was in Texas, how did that happen? Because 45 days before, I started seeing all these new people coming in this area in the Facebook group. Paul Devlin says, hey, we got this group outside of Dallas. They're in, I forget the name of that little town I was in. But we ended up, I went there and Paul went there with me as well, and we invested in the long distance line. Cindy Lapp was there. She's been there a few times. That's one of the most important things you do is you look for that spark of leadership somewhere, and then you go and you pour gasoline on it and turn it into a bonfire. So the way that starts is you don't say, well, okay, I want to have a team in New York, so let me advertise in the New York Times. No, let the group grow organically. See where the leadership starts to bubble up. But then when you see activity in an area, when you see something happening, make that investment to drive 5 hours and do an event there, or to buy a plane ticket for $300 and fly there and spend 2 or 3 days over a weekend doing presentations and training and their first leadership academy and grooming and coaching the people and really get that line off to a solid start. And then give them homework. One of the things I like to do with long distance lines is, of course, you go and you do an event and we're going to say, well, can you come back next month? No, because you're probably not going to go back every month for the same group. You've got other lines you want to develop, but you want to give them an assignment and say, okay, here is what I want you to do. I want to get this many people participating in the Leadership Academy. And when that happens, then I'll come back and we'll do your first success night. Give them something like that, a goal to shoot for. And then when they get there, that's when you'll come back. But so you want to, is the key in growing a big team is you don't make expenses to grow long distance lines. You make investments to grow long distance lines. So when I don't just get on a plane and fly somewhere because I have a new person there and they're excited and they tell me they want to be a diamond, I work with them by Skype. I work with them, I Skyped with today with Nicholas down in Colombia for a 3-way. I did a Skype for my team in Peru with the group last Wednesday night in Lima for the new group that I have developing there. I'm going to work with the phone, with the app, with webcasts, with email, with whatever, WhatsApp, and develop. And then when it makes sense, that's when I'm going to get on a plane or a train or take a drive in the car and I'm going to invest in that long distance line. So I'll make an investment where I schedule it, I plan ahead, we have some kind of a presentation for prospects, we have me working two-on-one or three-on-one with follow-up people. We'll do a training while I'm there. Maybe we'll do the first Leadership Academy. So I will really help nurture some developing leaders while I'm there and jumpstart getting a bunch of new customers and a bunch of new team members in that 2 or 3 days when I'm there. So it's an investment, not an expense. Number 6, be a principle that I live by in the business, and I'd suggest you do as well, which is you don't actually grow your team. You grow your people, and your people grow the team. Big distinction there. So think about that, and what can you be doing to help grow your people? And of course, it's a big thing if you have people check in every Thursday with their numbers for the week, and then you've got some specific things you can coach them on and give them assignments for that week. Look at things that they can accomplish, and then recognize the areas where they seem to be having challenges, where they need to develop those skill sets in a certain area to be able to get to the next thing that they want to get to, or the next rank, or the next achievement, and then help them do that. So you help build the people, and then the people are going to build the group. So what do we look at? We look at always the basic skill sets: how to meet people, how to work a candidate list, how to invite, how to follow up, making sure they have product knowledge, making sure they're using all the products. Did they do their open house? Have they got a strong customer base to get started? And we grow them. And as we grow them, that's what's going to grow the team. And finally, the 7th thing I want to talk about on this topic is be willing to give away your power. This was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn, but it was the most liberating lesson for me to learn. So if you look at this webcast, this is the English version. We do a Spanish version 1 hour earlier. So who's on the English version? Well, in our situation, it's 96.25% USA people, because the other 14 countries that were open at this moment are all Latin American countries where Spanish is the native tongue or the main language. And we have Costa Rica and some places that there's more English, but it's still a predominantly Spanish language, Spanish speaking as the main language. So I'm the only diamond in the US. I'm the top income earner in the US. A lot of people would expect to see me lead this webcast every week. But you notice I don't lead this webcast every week. Why? Because I am interested and confident enough in the leadership team that I have that I give away that power. I don't want the power of, oh, I'm the only guy who can do the leadership webcast. I'm the only guy who can speak at the success nights. I'm the only guy who can do the training for this. There's a lot of people, even really high earning people in our profession, who have fallen into that trap. And what happens is they suck all the oxygen out of the room because they have made themselves such a superhero that they're the only ones who can do the presentation. They're the only one on the stage, the only one who can do the training. And you don't ever want to let that happen to you. That's not the rewards of the business, the adulation of the crowd. The rewards of the business is seeing people that you introduce to the business stepping into their greatness, growing as leaders, people that you saw them give their first 30-second testimonial and they were petrified. And you saw them give their first 6-minute product training at a leadership academy, and they needed 4 hours worth of preparation to do that 6-minute thing, and they needed a binder full of notes and the PowerPoint slides and a cheat sheet, and they still were stuttering and stammering, and then all of a sudden one day they're on stage at Alumbra and they're given a 45-minute keynote, and thousands of people are screaming with joy and passion and admiration for them, and because they have inspired them. And you're just in the audience knowing, I remember when she couldn't do that 30-second testimonial, and look at her now. That's the payoff of this business. It's not how much stage time do I get, how much time, it's, hey, how many of my people are going to develop their leadership power? Because that's what makes the business special. That's the thing we get that the corporate world doesn't get, right? Probably a lot of you saw that John Oliver video. It's like 40-minute. He's the guy. He's got a show on HBO. He's quite funny guy, brilliant comedian, and he did a hysterical show a week ago about network marketing and just shredded us because, you know, they had these undercover cameras with people who were making these crazy income claims, and some old footage of a Vima person before they got shut down making, let's say, questionable recruiting tactics. And they had some people on stages making fools of themselves and bringing that on them, right? So I know that's part of the thing, but let me tell you, I could do that, and I almost did that. We talked about me doing the, you know, they have the State of the Union, and then they have the reply to the State of the Union. Art Jonak and I were having a conversation about me maybe doing the reply to the John Oliver show. Because, listen, I love the Oliver show because I know the business, and I'm confident enough in what we do and proud enough of the job we do that I can actually laugh, because they could make fun and they could exaggerate things and they could do that. Because I also know what I could do if I did the response to that, and we looked at the corporate world and the, you would say dog eat dog mentality, but that doesn't even fit anymore. It's a rat eat rat mentality that goes on in the corporate world in so many places. And they don't have what we have, which is where we get to see those people develop, where we get to see them, that every person we bring into this business can not only achieve the same rank we can, the same income we can, the same rewards we can, they can actually surpass it if they're willing to do that first thing, to lead themselves, to invest in themselves, to grow themselves. There is no limit to what they can do that, and they can go higher than you. They can earn more than you. They can qualify at better ranks, higher ranks, earn more trips, more bonus car, whatever, because we have a business of empowerment, a business without glass ceiling, without, it doesn't matter to us what someone's age is, what their religion is, what their race, their gender, their orientation. We don't concern ourselves with that. We have an opportunity for people to take their lives back. We have an opportunity for people to build their dreams. And we get to lead them. And if they choose to follow, because we choose to lead in a way that empowers and inspires and motivates them, we get to see them develop. And that is the greatest gift we get in this profession. And it's the gift that I don't see in any other profession. And we get to do that every day in every way with Fusion. And that's what makes what we have so special. So thanks for being on. Make sure your team sees this during the week. If they weren't on live, send the link out. Remember, if you didn't get the streaming, get sure and stream for the mastermind event. And if you are not registered for Max Out Mexico or Max Out US, and you're in one of those countries, go to xtribeonline.com right now. Click the blog where it says Max Out and make sure you get registered, because that'll be our next really major event, and you want to make sure you're there. All right, guys, have an amazing week. Love you guys. Peace.